All right. Feeney Talks with Friends. My name is Eric Feeney, the founder and president of Friends of Feeney. Our mission is to help children and families that have heartbreak or tragedy. I use this avenue, Feeney Talks with Friends, and I talk to wonderful people that are doing great things in the community. And today, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Michaud. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
He does wonderful things in the West Hartford community with the Miracle League. We'll get into this. This is episode 47. And 47, it couldn't be possible without Owen from Direct Line Media, Cody from Weehop Brewing and Roasting, and we have some sponsors. Thank you for sponsoring West Hartford Lock, Gastro Park, Fix IV, Donut Crazy, and our newest one, Keating Agency, doing our insurance. They do the insurance for multiple places. They do our directors and officers insurance. They're great people. They're on Arapahoe Road in West Hartford. So thank you so much. And last episode, 46, Scott Miller. Do you know the Doro? Do you like Zahara, Treva, Avir?
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Treva, probably.
What do you like there?
It's been a while, to be honest. I as you can tell, almost anything, probably.
Very nice. Good answer. Mike Michaud, Miracle League. Mike, it's so great to have you here. And like I said, you do wonderful things for the community and just the Miracle League. And, you know, we're celebrating something very special coming up.
Yes,
you want to get into that?
Yeah, this is the 10th year anniversary of the construction of the Miracle League field. We had our first game on the field on June 12th, 2012. So it's a big accomplishment and a big milestone for us. We put a lot of hard work and a lot of money into the project, so it's nice to know that it's lasted this long and has a long, bright future, I think.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. If you haven't seen it, it says the address is 1700 Asylum Avenue.
Yeah, that's the GPS address, 1700 Asylum. It's at the corner of Asylum and Troutbrook.
Yeah.
And we're part of the Little League complex that's there.
You most likely access it from Troutbrook.
The Troutbrook Park for driving, yeah. Troutbrook Drive for parking.
And they do have an accessible field.
Yeah, it's a fully accessible field. It's almost like a track surface that you would see at a high school. It's rubberized. The bases are painted on, so there's no raised obstacles. It's 100% wheelchair accessible. The dugouts are even designed a little bigger for wheelchairs. But it's attracted kids with any kind of disability over the years.
No, it's a wonderful, wonderful place. What was the inspiration behind the Miracle League?
To be honest, Brian Gumbel HBO Sports Show. I was president of the Little League at the time that we started. It was probably 2007 to 2009 when I was president. And I was on the committee to design that whole complex. It was something that the state took over, the town took over from the state, and we got a grant to build the Little League fields. And we had space left over that wasn't big enough for another Little League field, a regulation field. And probably 6 months before we got into that, I had seen the piece on HBO Sports that Frank DeFord did on the very first Miracle League field that was built in Conyers, Georgia. And I'm one of those guys who cries at commercials, so it had always stuck with me. And we had just actually started Challenger Baseball, which is a division of Little League, which is wonderful. It's the same concept, except it's played on a regular baseball field. So kids with mobility challenges were still kind of being left out, or it was very difficult for them. So at the time, Scott Franklin, Ronit, Shoham, and I were all very, very involved with Little League at the time, and we pledged that someday we were going to start raising money to build a Miracle League field there. So in about 2010, we started the project to raise the funds. It took a few years because the field alone was $350,000. The adjacent playground was $250,000. The restroom concession facility was another $210,000. So we're like $800,000 into that venue. But it took a while, and in a community like West Hartford, it's great. It's an affluent community, and lots of people like to give. So we did well to get it done in 2 years.
It's beautiful, and it serves. It's really cool. You have American League and National League.
Yeah, we started that a couple of years ago. Miracle League is really designed as completely non-competitive. By lack of a better term, by some miracle, every game in 10 years has ended in a tie. Nobody seems to mind, especially the kids. We've never had complaints about it. But we recognize that there are some kids who are a little more advanced and some kids who are really just there for socialization and get to be a part of a team. So we started a second division a couple years ago where the National League, they play on Saturdays now. And we have high school teams that come in and they do drills with them for about an hour and then they play a game.
Nice.
Our American League, which is on Sundays, that's our bigger league. It's just the game. So you come in, everybody gets to hit each inning. Everybody runs the bases, and it's a little less intense.
Gotcha. And you're looking for volunteers, right? They can always email you at info@miracleleague.com.
Actually, a better email address is just direct to us at miracleleaguect@comcast.net. We'll get it to eventually if I remember to check that email, but the Miracle League is a little more direct. Volunteers are the backbone of everything we do. Up until 4 years ago now, or close to 5, we were a completely volunteer organization. So I was the executive director and president of the board, but I was also working a full-time job. And it just got to be too big and too much to expect anybody to do it well. So about 4 years ago, they hired me as the executive director, but everything else is a volunteer basis. And it's an important part of our program. That's where sort of the inclusion comes in. We're assimilating kids who are typically developing, along with our kids who have intellectual or cognitive challenges, or physical challenges. And it's just getting them to be together while keeping it safe. We had considered at one point to make it a truly inclusive baseball program where they were playing side by side. But safety, you can't tell a 12-year-old kid who's typically developing, don't hit the ball hard. So for safety's sake, we recognized that we had to keep it the way we had, but we include the people who want to be included through volunteer opportunities.
Yeah, we see the University of Hartford baseball team.
Yeah, they're our big fall league sponsor, or fall league buddies. During the spring, they're a little too busy playing their schedule, but in the fall, they're out almost every week. The kids get a big kick out of that.
No, it's great. Your trick-or-treat events are always a huge hit.
That is our most popular event every year. We did that from the very first year in 2012, where we create an accessible neighborhood on the Miracle League field. So people like yourself, friends of Feeney, civic groups, sometimes it's just families. It can be any businesses come out and they set up tables and tents on the field, and it creates just that accessible trick-or-treating opportunity for a lot of kids. When you think about it, you go trick-or-treating in your neighborhood and there's stairs and there's all kinds of things that just prevent kids from doing it. So this is during the day. It's taking away any of the nighttime stuff. We keep it light, not too spooky.
Yep.
And we get about 350 kids who come through every year.
No, it's a huge hit. The booths are great. You guys give them bags. Just the costumes are great. Again, University of Hartford guys, they're always dressed up.
They have a blast there.
We are very excited. Friends of Feeney is very excited to have the photo booth opportunity there. 2 years ago, it was at Miracle Field. We passed out books. And
Right.
last year, the rain,
Yeah.
we moved it to indoor Sedgwick Middle School.
Yeah, we're lucky enough to have the cooperation of the town to help to facilitate that. So we can go indoors if necessary. You lose a little bit of the atmosphere, I think, though. And part of the idea is to get folks to understand what the Miracle League is about in the Miracle League field. So.
No, it's a beautiful place. And I want to play one day. I haven't volunteered, so I owe you a volunteer day.
You are welcome anytime.
No, it looks fun, and the kids are always having fun. And what's your connection? I just saw you recently at the Johnny's Jog. What's your connection with Johnny's Jog?
We've been very fortunate to have been one of the beneficiaries of Johnny's Jog since our beginning. Johnny was one of the kids we actually had in mind when we were designing the Miracle League field. For those who don't know him personally or didn't know him, he was in a wheelchair or some type of a mobility device at all times. So those were the kind of kids who couldn't play on a typical field. And that's what makes the Miracle League so special. It brings, really, there's nobody who can't play.
No, I love your slogan too. Your motto and slogan.
Yeah, every child deserves a chance to play.
Every child deserves a chance to play. I love it.
Yeah.
So that is so true, and I can't, I'm a firm believer in that, and I stand by that. Everyone deserves a chance to play. Everyone deserves a chance to learn. Everyone, deserves a chance to be included.
Right, absolutely. And, for a lot of the families, when you have a child who's, deeply impacted by their disability or their challenge, they probably never imagined that their kid's going to be on a team someday, or they're going to get to say, I'm going to Jimmy's baseball game. It's probably something that wasn't in their even thought process. So we're so happy that we give that opportunity. And it affects the kids, but it affects the entire family.
Yeah, no, it's great. To feel a part of something. You're on the club, you're on the team, you're in a group.
Jersey Day, that when we pass out the jerseys, that's the biggest day of the year, every year, for the kids.
Nice. That's so cool. Yeah, so episode 42, Feeney Talks with Friends. You got the shout out. I forgot what minute. I was like minute something, 40 or 50.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of our sponsors, West Hartford Lock, 3 keys that make you a great executive director for Miracle League. What are 3 keys?
Number one, it's a passion for me. This is kind of my baby. I'm one of the founders, and I'm just so appreciative of the fact that I get to do this at the end of my working days. I'm not a young man, as you might be able to tell. I turned 61 in January, so the end is in sight. I've got a few years left in me, but to be able to do something that you care about so much makes all the difference in the world. I think focus. When we went through a strategic planning process years ago, the one thing that stuck with me most of all is pick your lane and stay in it. Be the best in your lane. Don't try to be everything to everybody. Our focus is recreational activities. Advocacy is an important thing, but there are lots of other groups out there that do it and probably do it better than we could. There's all kinds of different aspects in the disability community that there's so many things that are needed, but we focus, laser focus on recreation. We've been approached to do a lot of other things in the past that we've just said, no, this is our lane, and we want to be the best in our lane. Third key, support from everybody else around me. While I'm the only paid employee, we have a board of directors of 11 or 12 people who are all fully dedicated and are there when we need them. Certainly our volunteers. I would say that's the third key, is just have a good rapport with the people you work with, and hopefully they appreciate you as much as you appreciate them.
Great. Support, community, focus. Stay in your lane. I like that one. 3 keys. All right, Mike. All right, so you mentioned Scott, Franklin, and Ronit.
Mm-hmm.
Our motto, be a good friend. Pick up the trash, hold the door, give a compliment, be charitable. What makes Ronit, we'll start with Ronit, what makes Ronit a good friend?
Wow. Those in West Hartford, if you don't know Ronit, you really don't live in West Hartford.
Yeah, right?
Ronit has her hands in so many different organizations throughout town. She's one of those people who's just dedicated to helping others. And she's always been there for anything we need. Her and Scott sort of lead up the National League program on Saturdays. So they focus on that for the most part now. But, she's just one of those people who doesn't stop. She's like a bulldog with a bone. If she has a vision, it's going to happen.
We got to get her on the podcast.
Yeah.
Ronit,
well, you could have her representing one of many organizations.
Right.
She's going to have about 10 hats here in front of her to switch off.
All right.
And Scott is not all that different. Scott is also very involved and very community-minded. He was president of the soccer league. He founded the Little League in town. I won't get into the whole history of the 2 leagues in town, but Scott was the founder of Little League. He led the biking group in town. He's now just announced that he and his wife are leading up a whole new farmers market program.
Oh, nice.
That's going to start in June. So he's another one of those people who just, gets whatever he wants to be involved in, he dives in the deep end, and that's kind of like me. I won't get just tangentially involved in something. If I'm getting involved, I'm jumping in.
110%.
And he's sort of like that.
No, it's great to meet Scott. I met him for the first time at Johnny's Jog.
And he is actually our legal counsel, too.
Oh, nice.
It's nice to have somebody doing free legal work for you over the years.
That's always helpful. No, great people. Scott and Ronit, thank you for being good friends.
Yes.
Yeah,
The best friends.
You mentioned biking thing, the I Can Bike program.
Yep, that's one of the programs that has become an offshoot. When we started baseball, our only intention was to have a nice little league for 20 or 30 kids on Sunday afternoons. As we got to meet our families, they were just so appreciative of having the opportunities, and they started saying, wait, do you ever think about doing this or doing that? So a lot of our programs that have come up over the years have been at the suggestion of parents. But the I Can Bike program was started, I believe, by the Kiwanis in town. They brought it into town first. It's a national organization through I Can Shine that we host, and we pay to bring them in and their equipment in each summer. And it's a mind-blowing program that teaches kids with disabilities ages 8 and up. And I say kids, we even do adults, and we've done a few in the past, how to independently ride a regular 2-wheel bike in 1 week's time.
Wow.
Kids who have never had their fanny on a bike seat on Monday are riding on their own by Friday, riding their own bikes on Friday.
That's amazing.
It's a mind-blowing program.
What's the trick?
The trick is their training bikes. It's a patented and highly secretive thing. It's called the roller system. The developer of it, I forget his last name, but it's Richard. He's now in his 80s and he hand builds every one of these roller systems that there's 13 trucks that go out throughout the country every year. They take the back wheel off of a regular bike and replace it with what's called a roller system. The very first roller is very flat, like a rolling pin you'd see in your kitchen. So the kids, that's on the back side of the bike, the kids are just learning to pedal and to steer, developing a little bit of core strength, and they're going to say, maybe on the end of day 1 or beginning of day 2, Eric, go get a drink with your buddies. And while he's going to get a drink, they're swapping out the roller for one that is just slightly more tapered. You're getting back on the same bike. You don't know any difference. To the eye, you really wouldn't notice it unless you're really looking for it. So they do this 6 times over the first few days, and the kids are just gradually developing the balance. And usually by Wednesday and Thursday, they're transitioning over to one of the regular training bikes, which is a typical 2-wheel bike, but it has a handle off the back so that the volunteers can easily grab and tip and tap, as they call it, as the riders are going. And then when they're ready, they progress to their family bike, as we call it. That's the bike they bring with them at the beginning of the week, and that's the bike they're going to ride afterwards. They transition to that and move outside. The whole first few days are indoors at the Connor gym, and then we move outdoors into the parking lot, and they're riding a 2-wheel bike. It's
That's
mind-blowing.
so cool. I love the progression.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and we say it about all of our programming. You hear about it, and it sounds so cool, like you just said, and it's heartwarming. You might get a little chill. You don't get it until you see it.
Yeah.
Same for our baseball games, or especially I Can Bike. If you go there on a Thursday and you see these kids getting on their own bikes for the first time, I still cry every year, and we've been doing it for 8 years, I think.
No, that's an amazing thing. That's just, milestones.
Yeah.
Riding
And for
a bike is huge.
volunteers, it's probably the best volunteer opportunity you'll ever have. You got to be fit. You got to be able to run alongside the bike. You're walking for the most part the first few days, but once the kids start transitioning over to regular bikes, you got to keep up with them. But you get to be by their side when they take their first ride on their own, and you're the first one to see it. It's really cool.
Is there a date for the I Can ride?
It's July 25th through the 29th. We traditionally do the final full week of July every year.
Okay. At Connor.
At Connor. It's a Monday through Friday program. There are 5 sessions throughout the day, beginning at 8:30 in the morning, 5 75-minute sessions. So a rider signs up for session 1. They come at 8:30, Monday through Friday. Same thing for the volunteers. Volunteers can stay for 1, 2. We have some volunteers who volunteer full days with us. And we provide lunch for them and get a cool shirt at the end.
Okay, I'm all about the teas. Very cool. Now, you have a couple other things. The Sensory Spring Fling.
Yep, that's
at the
coming
Bushnell
up this
Park.
Saturday. This is the first time we're doing that event. This was one of those things. I had a parent email me and say, my child would really, or it's actually she's a guardian for this person, but would like to be able to ride the carousel at Bushnell Park, but it's just too loud. If you've ever been there, but any carousel, it's one of the hallmarks of it. So she contacted Bushnell Park, but they told her they really needed a group to do it. So she reached out to us. We looked into it, and we're now doing this coming Saturday from 9 to noon. It's free rides on the carousel. Lego out of Enfield will be there supporting us with Lego bricks. They're going to have tables for the kids to play. Connecticut Science Center is sending somebody to do some bubble fun. Great American Donut, Dunkin' Donuts, is helping us out with treats. The Ram High School dance team is coming out to have a little dance party with the kids. So we're making a morning of it.
Oh, it's an amazing event.
Yeah.
Is it the first time?
This
ever?
is the first time we're trying it.
So cool.
Yeah.
Do you know the time? Oh, 9 to noon.
9 to noon. You can register right up until Friday. You do need to register in advance. We need to know how many people are going to be there and everything. There is a small fee just to cover the rental costs and everything, but we're hoping it's a great day, and the weather looks like it's going to cooperate.
Yeah, hopefully it warms up a little bit.
The beauty of the carousel, though, is really everything's enclosed.
True.
We can do everything indoors, so it's rain or shine.
Nice. And how do you connect with the schools?
That's always tricky. Because we're a statewide organization, really, we're West Hartford based, but we draw kids from all parts of the state. Some school systems are very cooperative in helping us to get the word out. Others are not. In a town like West Hartford, where we have a really strong SEPTO, special ed PTO, they're very cooperative and helpful to us in getting the word out. Other school systems, and I get it, they get hit by every group to disseminate information. So it's hit or miss, but we do our best.
Because I asked, because you did a lacrosse event and you had East Catholic girls lacrosse helping out. You got the University of Hartford, you got RAM. So
for baseball, Avon, Farmington, Conard, Newington. I'm hoping Hall this year, they come out to help. That's relationships that we develop with coaches. UHeart reached out to us. They had a relationship with Great American Donut. So Great American Donut's been our hero throughout all this thing, to be honest. They're the Dunkin' Donut franchisee that has close to 60 stores in Hartford, West Hartford, Glastonbury.
Now, what's the difference between a Great American Donut and actually Dunkin' Donuts?
Great American is the franchisee name, but it's Dunkin' Donut stores.
Gotcha.
So they have like 55, 60 stores. But when we were first starting raising money for the baseball field, the CEO at the time, Ted, and the CFO, Rich McCarthy, Ted was friends with Harmon Killebrew. Mm-hmm. And he would go out and play at the Miracle League of Arizona. Harmon was involved with that. They held a golf tournament every year. And Ted came back one year and reached out to the National Miracle League office and said, is there anything going on in Connecticut? And serendipitously, like 3 weeks before, we had contacted them to start the process of building. So they became our champions, more than just financially. Rich is now the president of our board. Ted has been super supportive all along the way, just mentoring. And, we were a fledgling group of 3 people. So the fact that they took that leap of faith and trusted us after talking to us, which is a miracle. But, without them, we wouldn't have gotten going. They still continue to be one of our biggest sponsors.
Yeah, they were at Johnny's Jog.
Yes.
They're at every trick-or-treat event.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they're a big part. They'll be at the Spring Fling. So they're always to support with product and to help keep our kids fed, but financially, and like I said, just the entire corporation, the company out of that's their head office in Plainville. They're all invested in the Miracle League. It's really great.
It's great to hear.
It's tough to find a company like that really is going to take on a single charity or 501c3. You're in the same boat. We're all out there fighting for the same dollars and the same sponsors, and when you have somebody like that who is your backbone, it's really helpful.
That's great. Now you mentioned some sponsors: SEPTA, Randy, and Jen.
Yep,
Right.
Randy. Randy's last name
Leopold,
and Jen Sherman, who happens to live across the street from me.
Okay, so I know where you live then.
Yeah, I'm right across the street. Yep, they've always been helpful with SEPTA, and they're out every year. Some of our other corporate sponsors, WMGNA out of Farmington, Wealth Management Group of North America. They're always there at our golf tournament and sponsoring a baseball team. Brothers Landscaping in town here, same thing. Willis St. John's Lodge is one of our baseball team sponsors. Bayer Odlum and Hyde. Who are our other baseball sponsors? Merit Graphics out of Hartford. Scott Franklin. And Harry's Bishop's Corner. Harry. Mm-hmm. Kevin and Ann Plout are just fantastic people who are so community minded, and they're always there for us whenever we need. I think I hit all our sponsors. If I forgot somebody, I apologize.
I know. I saw that Playhouse and Park is a sponsor, or is it a donor or supporter?
They're a supporter. They're there at a lot of our events. We used to sponsor their Theater for Young Audience series until COVID hit, and they kind of went under for a while. And budget-wise, it was tough for us to continue that. But we still collaborate a lot on their Theater for Young Audience. Their new show, Dr. Wonderful, The Amazing Adventures of Dr. Wonderful and Her Dog, I think it's called.
Yep.
Is coming up. And
female scientist.
Yeah, young girl scientist that's popular with the kids.
We're going to try to bring my third graders.
Yeah. So they do great kids shows every year, and we do a sensory-friendly performance of each one. So the Miracle League sponsors that.
Tracy, you know Tracy?
Oh, I know Tracy well.
She's great. So the 50th podcast, you're 47, our 50th podcast is going to take place at Playhouse on Park.
Well, as long as you got me before Tracy.
Yeah.
I feel important. I was going to say, who are the other 46 more important people?
So 50, May 3rd, we're going to have a live audience. We're going to have food by Doro, beer by Weehaw Roasting and Brewing. So it's going to be a great event.
Tracy's fantastic, and we work together a lot. I'm on their advisory board, so I'm a little bit involved with the theater also.
Oh, nice. Yep. So we're excited we'll be going to that again, trying to do the play. What was the play again?
The Amazing Adventures of Dr. Wonderful and Her Dog, I think it's called.
Yep. Well, speaking of third graders and Playhouse on Park, I'm a teacher for 18 years. Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite teacher?
Boy, we're going way back into the memory bank, Eric. I do remember, like, my first or second grade teacher, Mrs. Gary, who made a real impression on me. In high school,
well, are you a West Hartford guy?
No, I grew up across the river.
Oh boy,
in East Hartford. If you're old enough to know the across the river mode. So I grew up on, call it the other side of the tracks, but. No, I went to East Hartford High when there was when there were two high schools in East Hartford. They've since merged into one.
Nice. You have a reason why they're your favorite teachers?
It's just that connection. I think I always remember some teachers, especially as you got a little older, they were there just to be there and to fill the job and do what they need to mm-hmm. do. And there's just some teachers that make that connection one-on-one, or you feel like it is anyways. And some people have that talent to really make you feel like you're important.
Very cool. And a couple other sponsors. Back to sponsors. Yeah. Thanks for sharing your teachers. Wolfpack Hockey.
Yeah.
Johnny's Jog.
Yeah.
Oak Hill. I know Oak Hill.
Oak Hill, we actually had a collaboration agreement with them for a few years when Chapter 126 was open, and I actually worked out of their offices down there, and we worked together to present a lot of programming out of the Bristol facility, which was great. Unfortunately, Chapter 126 is closed. COVID really kind of killed them, and they just decided not to get it back going, but hopefully they do someday.
That was a wonderful field trip.
Yeah.
My third graders loved it. We learned about empathy. We learned about, disability awareness. It was just a great overall trip.
That's one of the big things we focus on is empathy versus sympathy, and we talk about that with our volunteers all the time. None of our kids want you to feel sorry for them. They're just kids. They want you to understand a little bit about what their life is like. So we would do, and you did, I know through your field trips, have typically developing kids play wheelchair basketball.
Yep.
While it was so cool to them for about 5 minutes until they understood how hard it is to move around for a long time in a chair, just to develop that understanding, to walk in their shoes or roll in their wheels for a little bit, it makes them understand, and that they're just, the one thing we stress to all of our volunteers is these are just kids, and they want to be kids and just act like they are. They're not cute, they're not to be pitied, they're not adorable, they are all of those things, but that's not what they want from you. They just want somebody to talk to them like anybody else would, typically age-appropriate peer.
Yep. Coach Paul, too, was awesome. He was like zipping through everyone with the ball. And
my favorite part of those field trips was Coach Paul would be in his wheelchair through the entire thing. And at the very end, when he was talking to the kids, all of a sudden, he'd get up out of his chair, and all the kids, what?
Yeah.
They didn't understand that he could walk, but he needed his chair for, most of his transportation.
And then, I don't know if you saw, then he dropped down and gave him like 50 push-ups.
Yeah.
And they were like, what? Very cool. Coach Paul. I like him.
Yeah, great guy.
Christopher Reed Foundation?
Back near the beginning, we got a grant from them. I'm not sure where the connection was. Sometimes you get these calls out of the blue or emails out of the blue, and that was one of those, which was fantastic. A lot of it is networking, like you're a master of it, I think. Just getting people who know about you, who might say to somebody, hey, there's this organization up in West Hartford or out of Central Connecticut, or we had a family 2 years ago. I get one of these emails that says, we're moving to the area and we want to, our family every year, Family Foundation makes a $10,000 donation. And it almost seemed like one of those Arab Prince emails, like I was almost afraid to click on anything, but it turned out to be true, and it's we were lucky enough to receive a $10,000 donation from their Family Foundation. I'm not even to this day sure how they came across us. I think their family just started researching organizations in the area, and it touched them. And they're at all our events, and to the point where last year I said it's the Wintermute family, and I said to Karen, I'm asking you not for your money, but because you really seem to have bought into our organization to be on our board, and she's now one of our board members.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
It's funny how relationships and
you never know.
Connections.
And you get grants where you get a check and you never meet anybody or never hear it. Believe me, it's all very much appreciated. But when you get somebody like that who really buys in and wants to know about your programs, it's like the Marathon Softball Group. I don't know if you've ever heard about them. They were one of our big early donors. It's a group of guys from West Hartford when they were teenagers, way back. They're my age now, and older. They would just, one Father's Day weekend, a bunch of kids got together and said, let's just play an all-day softball game. So they did, and it sort of grew every year with a bigger group, and then as they graduated from high school and started moving away, they would come back every year on Father's Day to play this. And now their kids are playing, and in some cases grandkids, who aren't kids. Most of the players are adults, but it became this huge event every summer, or at the beginning of the summer. And when we were first raising money to build the field, one of their founding members had passed away, and they were looking for an organization to, they turned it into a fundraiser for the first time. And That year they came across us, and again, it was a leap of faith. A local guy, David Paulton, who was part of the group, contacted me out of the blue, and we met at Dunkin' Donuts, and he sat down with Scott, Ronit, and I, and again, we schmoozed him, and apparently he bought in because they raised $50,000 that first year.
Holy
towards
cow.
construction. They then went back to not being a fundraiser. That's not their main goal. But this past year, last year, was their 50th anniversary. And they decided to once again make it a fundraiser. And we raised about $22,000 last year.
That's fantastic. West Hartford guys?
Yeah, all West Hartford guys.
What field do they play on?
Last year we were at Cedric. That's where they always played.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's just they go, they set up in the morning, they have their own scoreboard they bring that they've developed over the years. They
How many innings do they get in a day?
Probably 30 or 40 at least.
Right? Jeez.
Yeah, they play until from early, like 6, 7 a.m. till dusk. And we helped them last year with bringing in some food and an ice cream truck and Harry's Pizza, and made a day out of it.
That's so cool.
No, you just get these surprise things every once in a while that, like I said, you're chasing funds, I'm sure, and writing grant applications and this and that. It's difficult because there's so many worthy organizations. And it's when you're in a community like West Hartford especially, these businesses are getting hit up time after time after time. So if they choose you, it's really an honor.
Yep. We get a couple family, the Case family, an annual donation, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Huge.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, you mentioned restaurants. Do you have a favorite restaurant?
We're simple folk. We're not fancy food eaters at my house. My wife is really fussy. I'm almost as fussy. My daughter is probably the most adventurous. We're Cheesecake Factory people. We like places where we can go where there's going to be something.
Yeah.
Corner Pub we love.
Yep.
That's always been one of our favorites. My father-in-law passed away about a month ago, and that's where we had his after service because he always was a fan of Corner Pug.
Yep. Love the Corner Pug. The mac and cheese, stand straight up in the bowl.
The sausage chili.
Ooh, I got it. Reuben, the Reubens.
Effie's
Waffle
place,
fries.
Effie's place has always been a big supporter, and my father-in-law and mother-in-law, they were like in every Saturday night after Mass, and they used to bring my daughter, they started bringing my daughter when she was tiny, up until she was probably 15, and she was like Princess Tess there. She walked in and they knew exactly what she wanted, and they knew to save a piece of chocolate cream pie for her on Saturday nights. And
Ooh, look at that. That's pull. All right, so you're at your favorite restaurant. You could sit down with 4 people, dead or alive, to eat at your favorite meal. We'll say Corner Pug.
wow.
Who you eating with?
Dead or alive? I'm a U.S. history buff. I gotta get at least a couple of the founding fathers. Sam Adams has always fascinated me. I don't know if you've ever seen the HBO miniseries.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 7
a
or 8.
4-part series?
Oh, it's like 7 or 8.
Or maybe.
I watch it every year on the 4th of July. I binge watch it all day long.
Oh, nice.
My wife thinks I'm nuts. So Sam Adams is John Adams.
And that's on HBO?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard
It's just called John Adams. It's an incredible show, at least in my mind.
We'll put that in the recommendation portion of the podcast. John Adams.
I mean, with Hamilton out now, I'm a big fan of that. So you got to throw Hamilton in there, although
Okay.
they didn't get along so well. So that could make it interesting.
Oh, yeah, he's in that?
Yeah.
Right.
Then I got to go a little more current, probably. I'll stay away from current political. I don't want to alienate anybody. You got to be careful anything you say these days. Wow, you're stumping me.
So you got John Adams,
Yeah.
Hamilton.
Sticking with the Hamilton theme, Lin-Manuel Miranda just fascinates me.
Yeah.
Everything that guy does. So we can throw him in there. him and Hamilton can have a big discussion about what was right and what was wrong in the show. Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day, my favorite band.
All right.
He's going to mix things up.
Didn't see that coming. That's a curveball out of left field.
I know I don't look like the Green Day type of guy, but yeah, I've always been a fan of their. I went opening week of when they did American Idiot on Broadway, and
Very cool.
yeah.
We learned something today new about Mike Michaud. He's a
Seen
big Green
them
Day guy.
3 or 4 times live.
Very cool. All right, back to Miracle League. All your wonderful events in these 10 years. Can you name, it's a game, storytelling game, Matt Dix, episode 1. Your first event, your last event, your best event, your worst event. Maybe least favorite or something went wrong. We won't say worst, but.
Well, opening day of Miracle League was just, it's that celebration of 3 years, 2.5, 3 years of hard work, knowing that we were the very first Miracle League field in New England. So we're very proud of that. We were the first to have that, just opening it up for kids with mobility challenges. So that's got to be one of the best events. What's the others? Latest?
First, last?
Well, our last big
Best,
event,
worst.
we did, for the first time this year, we did a bowling league.
Ooh.
Yeah. Again, that was a suggestion of a parent. We traditionally had done a winter sports league, indoor sports league with Coach Paul at Chapter 126. We did that right up through the beginning of COVID, and then once COVID hit, we couldn't find a facility to do it in. And this year, while we may have been able to do it again, the facility was a challenge. So we just looked for other opportunities. I said, let's try bowling. It was a big hit. We had over 50 kids bowling every Saturday morning, or Saturday morning bumper bowling.
Nice. Where?
Callahan's Bowlorama, New Berlin Turnpike. In
Gotcha,
Wilmington.
yep.
It's a fantastic facility for accessibility. Everything is one level. There's no up and down to the lanes, so it was perfect. They had the bumpers for the lanes and plenty of ramps for the kids who needed that. Oops, I'm sorry. So it was a fantastic program for us, and to the point where we're going to do a summer version of it, but we're going to do it as a family bowling league. So mom and dad or siblings can bowl right alongside with.
No, I love how you take suggestions and you run with it. That's an awesome thing to do.
We will try almost anything, almost anything. We're always very careful not to step on other organizations' toes. Like people have said about skiing and everything. There's some great programs out there for skiing. So we don't want to step on their toes. They're doing it well. It's available to our families, so why replicate it?
Yep.
Same thing when we first started, people said soccer, and there was a big top soccer program in town. Why do we want to compete with them if they're doing it well? So we'll try new things. We do adaptive swim lessons with the Hospital for Special Care, although those are on hold for the moment because they're trying to get hiring back after COVID. We do a theater program with Playhouse on Park in the summer. It's a 2-week program where the kids, we start them off with a sort of a prompt or an idea for a show. This past year, the idea was something along the lines of Rapunzel, and it turned into the Princess Pajama Party and the Quest for the 3 Keys. The kids get their input. They kind of write the script as we go along and help us to write it. And then they present it at Playhouse on Park at the end. 2 years ago, it was Cinderella, and we had a bunch of girls in the program that year who were big Little Mermaid fans, so it turned into Cinderella Overboard. We had 1 year where it was Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, and it turned into Snow White and the 7 Pirates of the in outer space. So it gets crazy, but
Love the creativity.
Yeah, the kids love it. But now I'm going back to your question. Which 2 do I have left?
Your best,
We did best. We did latest.
first, and worst.
Well, first was
First
was,
and the
yeah.
best could be.
Yeah. Well, it was in a sense. Icon Bike every year is one of our best, just to see the transformations. That program, every program we do, we have intentions and we have what our goals are for the program. There's so many other things that come out of it. We call it unintended consequences. So like for I Can Bike, the confidence that they gain in learning to ride a bike, make that major accomplishment, you don't know where it's going to translate to. Probably 5 years ago now, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, we had a young boy who was on the autism spectrum and had a problem with transitioning to new things. He came in that first day. It took us 20 minutes just to get him inside the gym doors. And I thought, oh, this is going to be tough. By Wednesday, he was one of the kids first up riding on his own. On Thursday morning, his mom came to me and said, you know, I need to take him a little early today because he has a dentist appointment. She started talking to me about how difficult that is. They have to sometimes put him out to do a cleaning. Friday morning, she comes in with him, and she's got tears in her eyes. She said, on the way to the dentist, he told me if he can learn to ride a bike, he can sit through the dentist. So
Wow.
you just don't realize, I'd like to say that was our goal at the beginning, but we're not that smart. You just don't get the consequences of what these kids accomplish sometimes and how that translates. So I Can Bike every year is one of our,
Yeah, it's so cool.
I think, most important. And Trick or Treat every year is our favorite event. It's just the community. It's kind of like with Johnny's Jock. I sat there on this past weekend and 1,500 people coming out in the cold. You just get a sense of appreciation for what this community is. You don't, I don't think there's many other communities like it. I grew up in a community that was nothing like that. I don't know about other folks, but West Hartford is one of those towns where people participate, you know?
Oh, Johnny's Jog was great. You had Dunkin' Donuts, you had the Miracle League, you had like counseling, you had School of Rock, Friends of Feeney doing the photo booth.
Camp Current, Molly Tango Foundation, Keller Williams, I think they are. It's just, but you see just people coming out of the woodwork to support.
I think it was their most people ever. Right?
Yeah, I think they announced that before they had over 1,500 people registered this year.
No, great event every year. Happy to partner with them. Happy to be the photo booth person.
Yeah.
That's what Kelly on the podcast, she's like, you're the photo booth guy. I was like, all right, I've been called a lot of things before. Photo booth guy.
Yeah, Nicole made the mistake of bringing that to our trick or treat the first year that Oak Hill got involved. And then I was talking with Laura one day, and I said, hey, I know somebody who might be interesting for you guys to get. And so I put them in touch.
Yep, 2017, the neat photo booth.
Yeah.
And I helped my wife, Nicole,
Yeah.
senior director at Oak Hill.
Yes.
And now I've taken it on. Now she's like, you can go run with that photo booth. I'll set it up and then I'll leave. And then she goes. So she set it up, and a great event, great people, great event.
So I have to find a worst, huh?
Did it one like rain, or did it cancel, or something bad?
You know, yeah, you get rainouts from time to time. That's always disappointing, but we make the best of it. Yeah, it's just, you know, we tried a program over the winter that just never took off. It was a weekly theater program that we were hoping would get going, but we didn't have a lot of registrations for. So we postponed it. Some we might pull out of our back pocket in a couple of years, and it could take off again. You never know.
You got to try. You never know until you try. You can't win them all. All right, game, Donut Crazy. What's your favorite donut?
Well, I
can
have
we
to
talk
say
about-
Dunkin' Donuts, of course.
I was going to
Not
say,
to offend Donut Crazy.
can we talk about
Give me a Dunkin' Donuts apple spice.
Nice.
With the apple filled.
All right. Well, this is Donut Crazy on
I'm
Farmington
sorry.
Ave. Crazy questions. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
Are you a vegan or a vegetarian?
Really? Do you need to look at me? Do you need to ask that? Absolutely not.
Do you like gymnastics or soccer?
Which one do you have to move less? Gymnastics.
Do you have kids?
One daughter, 24. She's a special ed teacher in Plainville.
Oh, very good. How do you know Mr. Feeney?
Mr. Feeney, through our relationship through your wife at Oak Hill, is when I first met you, and at Chapter 126 on some of your field trips, and you've always been supportive of our trick-or-treat and come out to our events.
Great. Yep, always. Where are you from?
I grew up in East Hartford, born and bred, and lived in a few various towns throughout my wilder years, but then settled in West Hartford when I got married in '95.
Nice. Would you rather play baseball or watch baseball?
Oh, play baseball. We run a baseball league, and it's not a great sport to watch, I don't think.
How big is the Miracle Field?
From a home run is 125 feet. A typical Little League field is 200. It's specifically designed so that some of the kids can hit it out, and they do, and that's a huge thing if somebody does.
What's the field made of?
It's a rubberized surface. It's almost similar to what would be on a running track.
Gotcha.
We're actually in the process of getting ready to resurface them, and the new fields are actually a very low turf. They don't use the crumb rubber or everything like the football fields do. It's a very, very low pile, which keeps it as being wheelchair accessible.
Very cool.
So in the next couple of years, we're hoping to resurface.
What's your favorite sport?
Favorite sport? I'm a big college basketball and NFL fan.
Nice. Who's your football team?
Patriots. I have season tickets.
Would you rather have a cat or a dog?
Dog.
Hamburger or ice cream?
Ooh. Probably hamburger. The older I get, the less I like sweets.
Do you know Finn? Finn Daly?
Finn
Brooke Daly?
Absolutely.
Brooke was a guest.
Yep.
Brooke is episode 15. Brooke Daly.
Way
Fighters for
ahead of
Finn.
me. She deserves it, though.
Fridays. He's my student. He's awesome. I love that
Finn's
kid.
a great kid.
Would you rather do tennis or ping pong?
Well, back in my more mobile days, tennis, but now ping pong.
Nope. Would you rather play lacrosse or baseball?
I don't get lacrosse at all, so baseball.
Would you rather have a Lambo or a Ferrari?
Neither one. I'm not a big car guy. I never have been. A car to me is the vehicle to get from one place to another. I've never been into it.
Are you cooler than Mr. Feeney?
I doubt that. No, it's not possible.
You heard that? No, I'm kidding. No, you're pretty cool, Mike. Mike, thank you for being here. It's an honor speaking with you. You do wonderful things in the community. I love the Miracle League and everything about it.
I appreciate it, and we'd love folks to get involved, to volunteer, or even just come see one of our games or stop in at I Can Bike one day. Like I said, you hear about it, and it's heartwarming, and it's wonderful, and it's cool. When you see it, it's a whole different thing.
And this phone number, 860-461.
1501, that's my office phone.
All right. Give it a call and volunteer. We're looking for volunteers.
Don't even need to call me. Just go to our website, miracleleaguect.org.
Would you rather play basketball or lacrosse?
Basketball.
Would
Even
you,
as vertically challenged as I am.
Would you rather have one best friend or 100 not best friends?
Wow, that's a tough one. You know, I think one best friend, you got to have that one go-to person.
Would you rather eat pizza that tastes like ice cream or ice cream that tastes like pizza?
Ooh, neither. They both sound gross.
Got to get that on here. You got to get that on Harry's.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part of creating the Miracle League of CT?
Just seeing the
Great
kids
question.
having fun. You know, that's people ask, how did you get into it? And why did you get into it? And it's just, you see these kids with the ability to play baseball, you know, get up there in a wheelchair and hit, or somebody who's been hitting off a batting tee for weeks and weeks, and all of a sudden they decide they want to have it pitched to them, and they get that first hit from a pitcher. It's nothing better.
Isn't that great? Would you, we'll get that one. Would you rather be part of the Miracle League CT or a soccer player?
Miracle League CT.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a soccer player. Too much running.
Would you rather have $1 million or a mansion?
Give me the $1 million. I can get a real nice house still, and I don't need a mansion.
What's your favorite sport?
NFL probably, and college basketball.
What do you think of Mr. Feeney?
I think Mr. Feeney's a pretty good guy who is doing good things with his organization and a great supporter for a lot of organizations in town.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Appreciate
we
you.
appreciate you.
Would you rather be a shapeshifter but have to change into an exotic pet? And what pet would you change into?
Wow, where do you get these questions?
Crazy enough for you?
Yeah, okay. An exotic pet. Is a sloth an exotic pet? Yeah, we're going that. You don't got to move a lot. You can
Sloths
sit
are
around
amazing.
and watch things. Give me a sloth.
Would you rather be a hot dog or a hamburger?
A hamburger.
Would you rather be a wolf or a tiger?
Give me the wolf. I'll be a wolf.
Do you have a pet?
We do not. My wife is currently trying to find a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel to rescue. We avoided getting a dog for years and years because we both worked out of the house, but she now works permanently from home, so she's working on it.
Would you rather eat a lot of candy or a lot of ice cream?
Ice cream. Although the candy's not a bad.
What would you
second
do with $1
place.
million?
Well, resurface our Miracle League field.
Nice.
Support other organizations and spend.
Sorry, yep. How you doing? We're open on Wednesdays. This is the Feeney Talks with Friends podcast. Check it out on YouTube.
You say Feeney?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna do it.
Oh, that was...
I'm
Feeney.
sorry. Let's redo that question. I forgot where I was.
What would you do with $1 million?
Resurface the Miracle League field first. Help out some family and other worthy organizations, and spend a little bit on myself.
There you go. Would you rather eat 100 salads or 100 tomatoes?
I need the whole salad. I'd like tomato in a salad, but
Would you rather be a dentist or a doctor?
ooh, both got to do a lot of gross things. Probably a dentist. Not as much responsibility.
What gave you the idea? Brian Gumble, huh? That's so cool.
The Brian Gumble, HBO Inside Sports, and Frank DeFord.
Good for Brian Gumble. What's your favorite season?
Spring.
How does it feel to give people their dreams?
It's over the moon. It's to see kids when they first ride a bike or hit a baseball or learn to swim or act in a play. A lot of these kids wouldn't have the opportunity otherwise. So it makes me feel pretty good.
Very cool. Do you have a funny joke?
That I can tell. I probably better pass on that one.
Do you have a boss?
I'll tell you afterwards. My wife.
Yep. Good answer.
Other
Good
than
answer.
that, I'm fortunate enough to be the one-man employment crew of the Miracle League, so I do have a board of directors president who I need to answer to, but he gives me a pretty long leash.
Very cool. All right, that was crazy questions. Were they crazy enough for you?
Some of them were out there.
What minute are we on, Owen, for crazy questions, so I know?
Oh, my.
We got one more game. Incoherent with Feeney.
Uh-oh.
What is it? 40 minutes with Feeney. You did it. How you feeling? 40 minutes with Feeney.
I'm hanging in. Voice is starting to go a little bit, maybe, but...
All right, we're going to set this timer. You're going to read. It's called the Game of Gibberish. This one's for a prize. If you can get 5 in a minute. So, like, right here. So you'll sound that out. Read it out loud.
Donald Duck.
Boom. So, are you ready?
I'm a competitive person, so bring it on.
This is for a prize. I don't know. You nervous?
Shaking a little bit.
Incoherent. They play this here. So, let me get that ready. And this is the first one timed. Ready? Listen to your tunes
Apple
on your
Music?
phone. Yep. 1.
That you just farted. Did you just fart?
Smelly question. 2.
Mowing the lawn.
Chopping grass.
Mowing the lawn.
3.
Everything happens for a reason.
4.
Shit spinners. Fish hits.
Rotating gadget. I confiscate a lot of
Fidget
these.
spinners.
Fidget spinners. Boom, 5. All right, one more for good luck.
Lionel Messi.
6. You're on a roll. Let's go.
Shadud Tibati. Shadud Tibati.
Practice with someone you practice with for a test. The friend who actually listens in class.
Shida Buddy. Oh, something buddy.
Yep.
Study buddy.
Boom. You did it.
Wow, that's a tough one.
All right. Well, congratulations. You earned a free beer at We Hop Brewing and Roasting. So
Never
come
going
back.
to turn down a free beer.
Come back.
Those who know me well understand that.
Do you have a favorite?
I'm a basic beer kind of guy. The IPAs and stuff are not. Give me something that tastes like a Bud Light or a Miller Lite, and if I'm feeling fancy, an Amstel Light. Guinness, I don't need a knife and fork for my beer.
A1 steak sauce.
Yeah.
No, it was great talking with you. We got into the history. Did we touch on everything for Miracle League?
I think so. Just one other program I want to mention that we overlooked. It's something we started about 4 or 5 years ago called Sibshops. And it's actually a program for the siblings of children with disabilities. So we're just finishing up this year's session. We had about 10 kids, but it's a great opportunity for them to connect with other kids who are in their shoes. The family dynamics when you have a child with special needs, just by definition, they're going to require more of your attention.
Mm-hmm.
So without disparaging any parents or anything, they do the best they can. But sometimes the kids who are typically developing kind of feel like they're in the back seat. So it's a program, sort of a support group for them. We do a lot of activities that are designed to generate conversation. And we've had a fantastic group of kids this year who really share with each other, and it's been great.
Is this the first year?
No, we've been doing it for about 4 years now, or 5 years. We've had a year in the past that was just tough. If you have kids who don't really want to be there, sometimes the parents will coax the kids or maybe even force them to come. And if they're not participating, if they're not sharing, wait a year was like pulling teeth to get the kids to talk. So it can be tough. But this year's group has been fantastic.
Sibshops. Check it out. That's on the website. I saw
It
that.
is.
I meant to mention that.
It is.
And also September 20th, you have an event.
It's September 20th. Oh, how can I not mention that? That's our annual golf classic at the Golf Club of Avon. That's our second year playing there. It's our major fundraiser of the year. We have plenty of sponsorship opportunities, which include foursomes and things like that. Or you can just come out as a foursome and register to just play. It's a great day of golf with lots of fun and food and adult beverages, and we have a silent auction at the end. And
Oh, nice. How many years have you been doing the golf tournament?
since our inception, really, it started right at the beginning. It's grown every year. We have about 120 to 140 players now.
Do you get the golf status program to help you get the the raffles and the sponsorships, or do you have a committee?
We have a committee. We solicit all the donations for silent auction items and things like that. We use one of the golf companies to do the hole-in-one contest and things like that. Shaler Auto brings a car out every year. Great American Donut is our title sponsor of the event. Part of what we raise through Johnny's Jog, we put towards a sponsorship for them, so they're out every year with us, and it's a really fun day.
How's your golf game?
It's non-existent anymore. I have 2 blown-out shoulders. Couldn't swing a golf club if I had to. But I was a very casual golfer at best. One of those, it's like every golfer. I could do any part of the game well at any given time, just never all at the same
Yeah,
time.
consistency is key.
And I never played enough to really.
What day of the week is September 20th?
It's a Tuesday. We always do a Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Try and keep it business conscious, stay away from Mondays and Fridays. And
Gotcha. Well, thank you again for being a guest. I had a great conversation with you. We talked a lot of different things. We talked to Miracle League. You have wonderful things going on there. You're always coming up with new ideas. So it was a really good time to sit and talk with you. Great to see you the other day at Johnny's Jog, too. I look forward to seeing you, in the future.
I appreciate it very much. Like I said to you when you asked me, free beer and a chance to talk about Miracle League, what's better than that? So I had a great time, and a nice casual conversation without feeling rushed. Sometimes you do these things and you're in like a 5-minute window and you're scrambling to get out what you want.
Yeah, tell that story. That's a funny story. When they asked you to interview you.
I just did. Comcast Newsmakers, they reach out to folks from the community to do 5-minute. It's a short thing that they put on their access channels or whatever, and we really appreciate it, and any chance to talk about the Miracle League. But as we were getting ready, they told me, sit up straight, and so I sat up straight, and then I saw it afterwards, and I looked like I'm being held hostage like this. I looked at that, and while the content was fine, if you just closed your eyes, it was a great interview. But I'm very self-conscious, and I'm not one who ever seeks out the limelight. You'll go onto the Miracle League site, you won't see my mug anywhere. It's on our Facebook page. I avoid it at all costs. It's all about the kids, and that's what we focus on. But it's odd to get a chance to do something like that, and afterwards feel so. Hopefully this won't be like that. That's why I'm intentionally leaning over a little bit.
Nice. So next episode, the Bridge Family Center. Do you have any connections with the Bridge?
A little bit. Back in the day of the Mayor's Charity Ball, I was involved with one of the organizations that's now kind of defunct, called the Undergrounds. We had started a teen center, and we worked with them. Well, actually, we came in when they left the Mayor's Charity Ball and started their own Bridge Ball. So tangentially, but no direct.
Yeah, we're going to have Margaret, Executive Director, and Martin, the Director of Counseling, on next week.
They do some incredible stuff.
That's
as many organizations in town too. That's why I keep going back to what an incredible community we live in. And I hope folks really appreciate that. One thing I always try and instill in my daughter, or when I talk to kids, in classes maybe, that you don't appreciate a community like this until you're away from it. And this is all you've grown up with. You don't get it.
Yeah.
And I tell them, you can either just be a member of the community and take advantage of all the great stuff that happens here, and that's fine, or you can be a part of the community and help out with a lot of the stuff that goes on. So I just encourage people to be a part of the community.
No, I agree. I've been here for 13 years, and I love this community. Yeah. I was a little hesitant moving, but best move I've made.
Yeah, especially having grown up in East Hartford. There's always that. I talk to some of my old friends, and they say, where you live? And I say West Hartford. Oh, West Hartford. Yeah. I said, no, I just live in West Hartford. There are other parts of West Hartford that are West Hartford. Yeah. But it's a great melding of all kinds of people and communities and races and socioeconomic, and I've never been in a community that works that well together.
I couldn't agree more. That's well put. I'm totally in full agreement. Diversity of many different languages and economics and backgrounds. It's just an amazing place. Any closing remarks?
No, just very much. I appreciate you having me and letting me talk about the Miracle League. That is a treat for me when I get to speak without limits. So I really appreciate you having asked me, even if I was number 47 on the list.
47. I mean, it's only getting better. You'll come back. We'll be our 147th guest if we keep this going.
Well, yeah.
50th podcast. Are you available? May 3rd. Playhouse on Park. May 3rd.
What day does it fall on?
We're going to have it's going to start at 6. We're going to have an hour, cocktail hour. 7 o'clock show starts. We're going to have food from Doro. Beer from Weehaw Roasting and Brewing. We're trying to work on cocktails for Maximum Beverage.
Yes, you had me at cocktail hour.
All right,
as long as I don't have another event for some reason.
May 3rd.
What date
It's gonna
is
be
it? A
huge.
Tuesday?
It's a Tuesday.
Oh, it should be fine.
All right, you heard it out here. Mike will be there. So, very
If
cool.
Tracy lets me.
Tracy.
She will.
Mike is a good friend.
I just talked to her today, so.
Oh, perfect. Well, thank you, Tracy, and we're really looking forward to it. And thank you, Owen, from Direct Line Media. Thank you, Cody, from Weehaw Roasting and Brewing. Thank you for West Hartford Lock, Keating Agency, Fix IV. You ever get a Fix IV?
I have not.
Try one if you're into that type of stuff. Donut Crazy, but we won't speak about them.
Well, no, we can speak about them, but I don't cheat on Duncan.
That was hilarious.
It's funny if we have a quick second. Scott, Ronit, and I were meeting over something, and we were meeting at Panera in Bishop's Corner, right up from Dunkin' Donuts. And Ted Crew from Great American, the guy who's helped us from the beginning, stopped in at the store at Dunkin', and he saw our cars, and he comes over to Panera, and he says, "Are you cheating on me?"
That's funny. You gotta be loyal. Good people.
To them, absolutely.
So, yep, thank you for Direct Line Media. Thank them already. We're episode 47. Next episode's The Bridge. John Adams, watching on HBO. I want to give you a gift.
Absolutely.
Be a good friend. Mike, you're a good friend. On 3, we'll say be a good friend. 1, 2, 3. Be a good friend.